Okay, video update time on the VR 3.4. I wish this could have been a good video about how to install a DQ500, but instead this is going to be how to fix crazy amounts of DSG fluid leaking from an O-ring that I left out of right here next to this pressure relief valve gizmo down here. I have DSG fluid that squirts out of a little silicon sort of join, and you can just see the edge of that silicon right there. That's where it's leaking, because there's an O-ring that's supposed to be in there. Same sort of O-ring that's normally under your cooler, 15 diameter, 2.4 cross-section thing. But yeah, it leaks a lot of fluid, like a litre every time I drive it, and that is really expensive, $25 a litre. So this is going to be a video of how to dismantle the whole front end of an Audi in less than 2 hours, because I've gotten really good at this, unfortunately. Anyway, let's get to it.
Never give up.
Okay, so 3 hours, 20 minutes in, gearbox out, engine out, hell of a mess, making progress. So here is the bolt I'm referring to that has a little bit of silicon coming out here. Now how I found this leak is I sprayed it, the top of the gearbox with this dry shampoo dust. They use it in 3D printing and that sort of stuff as well, but it soaks up oil really well. I then was able to start the car and just see a weep starting to come here. Now, when you're driving, because that is a pressurized gallery, squirts a bunch of pressure through there, and it just squirts out of here, and you got oil all over the place, all up in under where the cooler plate is, and runs down the back of the gearbox and all over the place. And I have an exhaust that's covered in this stuff. The bottom of the car is never going to rust. But anyway, so next fun task. Pull the mechatronic, flip it on its back and try and not lose too much oil, though I'm doing a full change on it anyway. Try to not lose too much oil all over the ground is the goal. Yeah, and then see what else I can do. I just noticed I got a little weep here as well. That's disappointing because that's a brand new seal. Bugger. Alright, so we'll see how it goes from here. Back soon.
Never give up.
Alright, the chaos continues. This is the gearbox casing, and this is where that O-ring is meant to go. Got a Viton O-ring from the bearing shop there. Was that 2.5 mil thickness? I went with the same sort of specs as the oil cooler for the O-ring. It's going to be interesting putting this in because the little bastard's probably going to fall out of there when I hold the case upside down. So I'm going to silicon a little bit in there and just do a couple of test shakes on it, see if it'll fall out before I go too far with putting it together. I did contemplate putting a tiny dab of super glue at the edges or something like that, but it's like a tough call because that's a hard setting glue, and I don't really want that on an O-ring. I can't imagine how the factory put these together. They must have a tool that holds it in, or actually that's probably not a bad idea. I could probably put a bit of paper, or no, that's going to wipe my gasket material away. That's not going to work either. Anyway, back to it. Move on forward, you know, all that sort of thing. Over here, yes, it's a gearbox. One thing I did notice is this actually had gasket material on it, and I thought, why on earth have they put gasket silicon sealant on here? And then I realised, hold on, there's a bolt there. If oil got into there, it could travel through the bolt head and out to the end. So I'm going to make sure I actually put some gasket sealant on this one this time as well. I don't think I did last time. I thought I looked at that and thought, no, that's like a main cap inside an engine, and you don't put silicone on your main caps. But anyway, I have cleaned the hell out of everything with wax and grease remover, so time to silicone that whole thing up, I think. Drop it back together before the sun goes down, because it is going down. Back soon.
Never give up.
So this is the aftermath of yesterday afternoon's progress. The good news is I managed to get the gearbox case halves back together and finally got the clutch in. And I've got to tell you, that was a load of fun. Interesting thing about the DQ500 clutches, and probably a lot of the others, is the inner clutch and the outer clutch. When you put the whole clutch assembly in, the clutch sort of drops, the outer basket drops down a little bit, and then when you go to put the hat on, which is your drive plate, you have to be able to pull the whole clutch basket up to compress the outer, the drive plate onto the basket, and then put the circlip in at the top. But the funny thing is if you align everything perfectly outside of the gearbox and you put it inside the gearbox, if you move that just a tiny bit while that upper clutch basket is sitting up a little bit, when you go to put the drive plate on, the inner basket will be touching one of the friction discs where it lines up into the teeth onto the outside of the disc, and you will not get that drive plate on, regardless of what you do, because the reality is you're dealing with a thick plate, and that's the thickness of your O-ring. It's not the O-ring, the circlip, and it just ain't gonna play. So long story short, after working that out in the dark last night, pretty much working under a spotlight, I decided not had enough. But the main thing is the O-ring is now in here. I've got new silicone, everything cleaned beautifully. Now I just got to clean up here and put the mechatronic back in, the speed sensor, and all my fluid distribution tubes. So that's my mission for this morning. Well, not even this morning, for the next half hour, and then hopefully put the whole thing back in the car and get it going again. I'll be back soon.
Never give up.
Alright, so it's all back together. This concludes our reassembly. Good news is, well, bled the cooling system, which is always fun with this thing because of what I've done to it. It doesn't bleed air real well. But the best part is, after the DSG bleed and a bit of a pressure clean, I ran it through all the gears up to 7th while up in the air on jack stands, and ran it for quite a while, you know, obviously till the oil temp was between 30 to 40 degrees, so I could do the drain procedure that you do when you fill the gearbox, and not a drop. First sign of drop was always appearing here, and she's clean as, well, a little bit residue, but anyway, there's going to be oil running out of this for a little while, I suspect. I pressure cleaned it a few times, but you can never get rid of all the oil. Anyway, there we go, pretty happy with that. So tomorrow I'm going to take it for a proper drive, and with any luck not have any more catastrophic 1 litre per day drives of dropping DSG fluid. Yeah, pressure cleaned the top as well. Pretty clean up here, still got water on top of the engine, but no signs of oil, and certainly none from right down here next to that pressure gallery, and there's that section here where the O-ring was right there, up in there. Can you even see my finger? Yeah, basically where the end of my finger is pointing. Not a drop there, so clearly the O-ring's meant to be there, and somehow all the videos online that I saw, there was some fancy German guy who had all the right tools for doing the job. He didn't show that O-ring, and George from Malacca missed it as well and actually followed his video most closely, but I don't blame you, George. It's a learning experience. I learned this one about 3 or 4 times with pulling the engine out, but I'm getting real good at it. So that's about it. Hopefully a good drive tomorrow. Anyway, catch you later, guys. Bye. Alright, so done about 2.5 hours driving so far today. Still purging a little bit of air out of there, but top that up next time it cools down. But the best part, not a drop. Not a single drop from the edge of the spacer plate, which is where it was first getting a little weep of a drip, and that metal bracket that goes off the dog bone, that was drenched in DSG fluid before. But she's all good now, not a single drop, so very happy with that. I do believe I have finally beat the DQ500 challenge. Anyway, so that's it for now. Signing off. Cheers.